everybody. Michael Bunker here, Bunker Live. I've made it. So, guess we'll talk about some stuff. You never know what people want to talk about. If people want to talk about stuff, we'll see. So, bright, beautiful, sunshiny day here today. People sometimes, every once in a while, they'll say, "Oh, your face is swollen, your eyes are glassy. What's going on?" I have allergies almost year round. I actually got rid of my allergies 1 year. 2017, I did a 7-day fast, and my allergies basically went away for most of a year. And I haven't done a 7-day fast since then. I've done a lot of 3, some 4-day fast and shorter. So I'm planning on doing a 7-day fast probably coming up here in the next month. I'm actually just started one. I'm not a 7-day. I'm on a 3-day fast right now. Just started. But yeah, 2017, I did a 7-day fast, and I plan on doing a video on it. Somewhere here on my desk, I've got a notepad where I basically journaled the whole thing. I journaled the whole 7-day fast, what I was thinking, how I was feeling, all that. And I just never published it because that was kind of before the whole fast fad hit. And then everybody was talking about. I put it away. I went back to work and doing some other stuff. And then by the time I got back to it, there was a million blogs and everything. Everybody was talking about fasting. So we had been doing it for some time. I've actually fasted different times over the decades, but so anyways, I just never published my journal. And so now I find it to be relevant. It's probably a good time. I think probably during what's going on with coronavirus is one of the best times to fast ever, or to learn to fast, because it's just not only is that a wonderful educational tool, makes your materials go farther, but it's also one of the best things you can do to boost your immune system and even reboot it. If you can do over a 72-hour fast, it'll actually reboot your immunity, your immune system, and replace and repair a lot of your organs. So anyways, I got allergies real bad. Plus the sun is out real bright. I was out all day today outside. I'm a little bit sunburned. And so that's kind of what's going on. All right. If you're out there, when you get in, say hi, type something in the comment section. Let me know somebody's here. I'm on the laptop today, so it doesn't tell me if anybody's here or what's going on. So there's no way for me to know if I'm just sitting here talking to myself. I do have some things I want to talk about, but I'm just kind of waiting to see if anybody's going to show up, because you never know. I'm looking here real quick. Maybe on my other device I can see if I'm sitting here by myself. That's kind of my worry. My worry is that it's like right now I'm supposed to be building a fence for the garden. We're going to, we originally planned on this being our land Sabbath, but we decided to go ahead and put in a garden because of what's going on. And it's just probably a wise decision. And so I'm supposed to be building a garden fence, but I'm not. I'm here talking to you if anybody's here. So no one's commented yet, so I'm going to assume no one's here. I'll give it a few minutes. And if not, we'll go do something else. Like go build a garden fence. I never know what time to do these things. I did one at 7 a.m. the other day, or 6 a.m. and it turned out to be, hello, Don. Hello, Scott. All right, so there's a couple of people here. No way for me to know. Back in the day, a week ago, on Facebook Live, and if you're on another device, it'll tell you how many people are there, all this. I have no way of knowing. I'm sitting here looking at myself. This is the only time I ever see myself, because I don't have a mirror. So I groom during this time period. Hello, Boyd. Hello, my daughter, Jennifer. Get home, Jennifer. Okay, so I normally don't wear a baseball cap. I don't normally wear a t-shirt and all that. So, and I normally don't have long hair. All of these things are abnormal and I don't approve. But that's just the way things are right now. I'm wearing the hat for you because I don't want you to have to deal with this head. It's very hard to listen to the wisdom coming out of my mouth when you have to look at this head. And this T-shirt, I don't know what it is. Miss Fuzzy Sea Fury. I think it's like a Canadian fighter plane, but I got this at the thrift store. We get T-shirts, and I'm going to talk about that in a little while because that's a little survival preparedness plan idea. But we got this at a thrift store. It's a brand new T-shirt, but I don't have any idea. It says Miss Fuzzy on the back. So, all right. So you guys type in some questions and comments. I got a few things I want to talk about, but I also want to talk about whatever you want to talk about. So I've had allergies and real kind of bad today, and sunburn. That's kind of what's going on. Hope everything's going okay wherever you are, that you have what you need as far as supplies. Things are getting weird out there. I have no idea what's going to go on. Everybody right now is watching politics to see if they're going to get their government money, going to get them government handouts. So, and I ain't getting any, so it had nothing to do with me, so I'm not watching it. All right, so we'll talk about a few things. What can we learn from this? And I don't just mean that as a country or a state or some socio-political entity. What can we learn from this as people? What I'm really hoping is happening here is something I've been preaching and teaching for 20 years, is to try to get people to look at the system. I'm not asking you to judge it. I'm not asking you to analyze its moral position. I'm asking you to just look at it. Just look at it and say, okay, what is it? How does it work? What is its weakness? What are its weaknesses? And how does it affect me and my family and our mission? I hope your family or you yourself have a mission. And that mission can be whatever it is for you. But in many cases, that is to provide, protect, raise up another generation, morally strong, philosophically aware warrior poets, whatever it is for you. Then you look at the system, and then you look at whatever its weaknesses are, its dependencies, and then you look at whatever your mission is, and you go, okay, how do these things work together? And what I'm really hoping is that people are looking at it now, because it's very easy for someone like me now to come in and just say, I told you so, you bunch of dummies. And I've avoided all that and I've actually defended the people that are out doing things that may not be particularly wise or the best plan or the best utilization of their resources. But I've avoided just saying, I told you so, because I'm really hoping that people are going to look at things and they're going to go, okay, here's the deal with this system. This system, and I've got a video called Just in Time. Make sure you watch it so you know what I'm talking about. But we have a system of just-in-time delivery of goods and services that is based on the idea that it is most efficient for the goods and services that are to be utilized within the system arrive just in time. And that just means that the long-term storage of goods is expensive, and it's kind of a way of gambling. You're gambling that they're going to be needed and that you aren't going to end up being stuck with all of them. And so one thing I tried to explain to some other people on Facebook the other day, people still just dummies, just still screaming into their computer, why are they out of women's feminine products? Why are people buying them all up? And they don't understand that that's not hoarding. It's not hoarding that's going on. And first of all, hoarding is a weasel word that was invented in order to push towards a political solution and to divest people of their own property, or their right to control their own property and do with it what they will, which I hope most people think that you ought to be able to do with your own property as long as you don't harm anybody else. And so what's happened is these people are upset because they go to the store and there's no women feminine products. Well, see, the whole system's designed that there aren't enough. There are not enough feminine products on the shelves for everybody who's possibly going to need them that day, plus however many weeks you think you might be without them. There's not enough. That's the way the system's designed. They don't just make enough so that everybody's going to go and buy them at the same time. What they do is they have these logistics, and then they have this data analysis. And over years, they've determined, ceteris paribus, all things remaining equal, this is how many women's feminine products we need to have in the store on a particular day, and maybe 2 days, and then the truck will come and deliver it again. And so that store doesn't have to have a huge cavernous warehouse. Walmarts don't really have, at the store, don't have a warehouse. I've had Walmart people tell me whatever they have is on the shelves. And so the days where you had a little store with a huge warehouse are gone. And so the whole system's designed to deliver those goods just as you need them. So when you go there, it looks really, really inviting because whatever you need is on the shelf. Ceteris paribus, all things remaining equal. So there's just not enough stuff. And if you add to the fact that people aren't just going and buying what they need for 1 or 2 days, they're buying what they need because they're looking at the news, because they're looking at reality, and they're going, hey, I may not get any more of these, whatever it is. I may not get any more for months. So when they do get into the store, intelligently, they're going, okay, here's what I need to do. It doesn't matter. Go back to watch my videos. It doesn't matter whether coronavirus is the huge thing that's going to kill everybody or it's a hoax or somewhere in the middle. It doesn't matter. The thing is not the thing. Go watch my video. The thing is not the thing. It doesn't matter. What matters is the reality of people's impression of what is going on. If 2 guys are neighbors and one of them is a Democrat and thinks this is the absolute, not only is this the worst plague ever, but it's Trump's fault. And then his neighbor is a Republican who thinks this thing's blown totally out of proportion. It's no bigger than a coal, whatever it is. They both exist in a just-in-time system of delivery. Hey, Jody. Hey, everybody. System of delivery of goods and services. There is a finite, limited number of goods, and you have a lot of dollars that are chasing those goods. They both are dealing with the reality of supply and demand. So it doesn't matter what you think about the coronavirus. It doesn't matter what I think about it. I'm not an epidemiologist and I'm not an expert. But my whole point is that people are starting to look and go, okay, Bunker might have something here. Maybe at its best, all things remaining equal, just in time is a fantastic way to provide goods and services to a dependent, specialized species. And by dependent, I mean that 99.9% of the people don't ever produce anything other than make work that is designed to keep that system going, moving things from A to B on the computer or however they do it. And so they're not producing anything, so they're dependent. And the second thing is that they're specialized, which means that they don't have a broad sense of skills or a broad set of skills. They are not survivalist farmers, growers, harvesters, woodworkers, metalworkers. Once upon a time, if you just lived in the world, well, I mean, you could have been a philosopher, but you would have had a huge set of skills because you had to survive. I mean, the Apostle Paul was a tent maker, and you had a set of skills. Most people were not just like insects, highly specialized. So now with this, and you guys, if you watch me for very long, you've heard me say that, but I got to keep repeating it. And so going back to my point, I'm hoping people are now looking at this system and they're going, okay, there is a weakness to the system. Doesn't mean I'm asking anybody to change anything politically. I'm saying you and your family, the way you plug into the system, you should know what the dependencies and the weaknesses of that system are, and then you can ameliorate the weaknesses by activity, by behaviors. So that could be anything as simple as learning a skill, learning different ways to do things and to become productive, growing a garden, uh, learning how to make something that can be bartered or traded, getting a hobby that somehow increases your viability, preparedness, storing up stuff. If you hopefully you're looking at your mechanism, you're looking at what things people are, and I apologize for any messages that come in or whatever. You're looking at your system and going, okay, this is something I need to address. We ran out of this real fast. We didn't store this. It's not about stockpiling per se, although stockpiling is a band-aid. It's a way to address a weakness, hopefully while you learn some skills that might allow you to move past just the redress of not having that thing for a short amount of time. And so what can we learn from this? We can learn how the system works, what its benefits are, what its weaknesses are. We can then look at our mission. What is it? What is your mission? Is your mission to become a millionaire? Is your mission to raise bright children? Whatever your mission is, you take it and you look at this system and you go, okay, this system benefits me in this way, but the weaknesses of it puts my mission at risk. And if your mission is at risk, then what are you even here for? I mean, are you really just a zombie, just moving through life, just waiting to drop off, next generation to drop off the earth? Hopefully, there's more to it than that. And so, whatever that is for you, you look at it and you go, okay. So what I probably need to do is I need to apply myself to educate myself, not only to how the system works. Now I've pushed my book, Surviving Off Grid, because that's what this book does. That book, it teaches you what you don't know. And by that, it means it's not a how-to book. It's a how-to-think book. And it teaches you how to understand what things you don't know so that you then have a whole picture of the system. Now we're in the middle of it. So since 2011, when that book came out, you go read the review. Most of the reviews are good, but there's a lot of 1-star reviews, and the 1-star reviews are generally go like this. They're like, this guy put religious stuff in the book. I shouldn't have to pay to read that garbage. 1 star. Even though, it's in the description of the book, and, anyway, don't get me started, but the only other ones that are not, oh, this offended me because it has religious stuff in it, are the people who are like, this doesn't tell me how to dig a well. It's not a how-to book. All it tells you is it's a history book. It goes through the history of Greece and Rome, how they fell, what their weaknesses were, what we should have learned from that and other societies. And then it goes into systems like lighting, heating, cooling, food production, food preservation, and all that, and kind of gives you a history of those things. And then you can apply that to your system and go, okay, this is something that I'm missing. So that book is called Surviving Off Grid. I've got a copy of it here somewhere. I'm trying to think, because it was here. It was here just the other day. Surviving Off Grid. I'm going to show you a bunch of books right now because people have been asking me. I've got a huge library. And so if I actually pulled out all of my books that I've read on how to do things and how to know, it would be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books. But I pulled out just a few that I figure I'd show you. The ones that I think are critical for you to know, go watch this video on YouTube after we're done. YouTube.com/BunkDad, subscribe. And then on this video in the description, I'll put links to 4 or 5 of the books that I think you really, really ought to get. And so, and then I'll just do a little comment. One of them that I know a lot of people of you may know, maybe you have, and it's a whole series of books. But this was the first one, and you see mine's worn out and you got water stains on it. The Foxfire book. Forget the fact that the guy who started this turned out to be a perv. The book itself has nothing to do with pervation. Um, Basically, this book, this teacher got a bunch of his students and they went and interviewed old people. And this was probably in the 70s. So the old people were probably born in the last century, and just asked them how to do things and stories, folklore. So it has stuff in it: hog dressing, log cabin building, mountain crafts and foods, planting by the sign, snake lore, hunting tales, faith healing, moonshining, plain living. But there's not only like pictures of how they did things, but a lot of it's just stories, and a lot of those stories are, it's like old people going, "We didn't have a washing machine. We had to go down to the creek and all that." But it teaches you something. So you can get this on Amazon. It won't look like this. This is an old copy. And then there's a whole series. I think they did a bunch of them. I don't know how many of them they did, but I think I've got probably 10 of the volumes. All right. We'll go through some more here. The Forager's Harvest. This could be very valuable in the month that we're in, because and I put out a post. Hopefully you're following me. If you're on YouTube and you're watching this, you need to get on my Facebook, facebook.com/off-grid. I put a post out there about people not killing the dandelions in your yard. That's probably one of the only crops that you have growing right now that's edible, that you could add to your diet and extend your food supply while the stores try to catch up. Forager's Harvest, basically how to find wild edibles and which ones are good and stuff like that. This is by Samuel Thayer, The Forager's Harvest. Hey, if y'all have questions or comments or something, just put them in the, maybe I'm missing them. I did. Alan, I'm sorry, I didn't scroll down, so I got to go through these. Alan says he didn't get a notification. Don't know, because they probably don't want people watching me. The most profound awakening I got from Off Grid was when you asked the question, what do you do when the sun goes down and there's no light? I was thinking, light a candle. You said go to bed. That's right. Yeah, there's like 10 or 12 of the Foxfire books, and they're all really good. So, hey, you guys, while I'm doing this, I'm going to keep holding up books. And I'm not making any money on this stuff. I mean, if you go and click my links on YouTube, I might make a few pennies, but I'm just trying to help people out. Put your questions and comments into the. I'm scratching I got a little irritation from my allergies. My skin gets itchy. All right, so just put your comments, your questions in there so I can come to them. This is a James Wesley Rawls. Some of y'all might know. How to Survive the End of the World as We Know It, Tactics, Techniques, and Technologies for Uncertain Times. It's a good book, and he's a good writer. My only hesitation about James Wesley Rawls is that he's really, really, I call him a millionaire survivalist. For a lot of us who have lived our life poor, a lot of his things are not really that applicable, but there's good ideas in here and good scenarios. He also wrote a fiction series. I think the first book was called Patriot. That was a good one. The second one was good, and the third one, if I remember right, wasn't that good. But this got good stuff about growing trees and all kinds of good stuff in there. All right. Here's one you could use right now. Home remedies from Amish country. Maybe I can get some for my facial irritation, my itchy skin. Home remedies from Amish country. Revised 5th edition, approximately 600 remedies in baby care, healthcare, salves, and weight loss. And so these are all just books from my library. I got hundreds and hundreds of books that I've just read and I've retained a lot of it stuff. May not be wanting to be doing this in downtown New York City, but if you live somewhere else, yeah, we could get to that point. Basic Butchering of Livestock and Game. Good book. The main book, the one we started on, is the Encyclopedia of Country Living by Carla Emery. Alan Whitaker just mentioned it. We started with that, but the internet was there, but there was nothing on it. And by that, I mean, if you typed in how to do things, there wasn't anything. Do things like what we're talking about, there wasn't anything on there. And there wasn't for the first 10 years of the internet. So you couldn't Google how to milk a cow because there wouldn't be anything there. It took a while for that. People think it's always been like it is now, where everything is on the internet. It wasn't. We started in 1997. The internet ubiquitously was only about 4 years old, 5 years old. It had been around for a while, but mainly it was just interconnected bulletin boards of people trying to sell bumper stickers. But so, anyways, we got the Carla Emery book at a bookstore, bricks and mortar bookstore, and that was all we had when we started. We didn't know anything, and so we got chickens, and we were like, okay, turn to the chapter on chickens. If we got a milk cow, like that's how we learned how to do it. We went to the Carla Emery book. It is a absolute must, and it's still great. She passed away, but the book is still great. It's an encyclopedia of fence making, all just everything you can imagine. All right, let me see what else we got here. Primitive wilderness living and survival skills. This is good because even if you don't plan, and hopefully you shouldn't plan on just going out into the wilderness and surviving, it's a way to think. There are things in here, and there's like 700 pictures. Just learning how to use a knife. How to use a flint. How to cook a trout in mud. There's just a lot of, and even if you never do this stuff, it's a history lesson. These are the people you came from. Somewhere back there, as the song goes, or is it somewhere out there? There's an ancestor who was a survivalist. Did you know that? Did you know you come from a long line of survival? If you're watching this video, you come from a long line of survivalists. Now, maybe that stopped a couple of generations ago. I bet you your great-grandmother knew a lot of stuff. But back before that, there were people that knew how to do stuff. And that's who you come from. That's the stock. That's the blood that's coursing through your veins. And so all this does is it reanimates that survival blood you have in you. And you can look at stuff and you can go, okay, well, maybe I want to do that. Maybe I want to try that in the backyard. Maybe this would be something. This is awesome right here. Making cordage. And everybody did it. You aren't a cordage expert back 250 years ago. Everybody knew how to make. They go make cordage. What is cordage? Rope, string. You just knew how to do it, and with whatever you had. It wasn't like you had to go out there and shear a mohair goat or something like that. There's all types of plants and bark and things that you can make cordage out of. But once you learn how to do it, you can make it out of just about it. You can make it out of your beard hair. So anyways, this is just the hardest thing to get past people is they thought, well, there's people that do that. Because your rope and your string, if you even use such a thing anymore, is made by somebody. But once upon a time, every family made their own. Or they bartered and they did something and they bartered and traded for it. All right. This is more local or regional. Edible and useful plants of Texas and the Southwest. This is a wonderful resource. Get these books and put them on your shelf. Look at them every once in a while. But when something like this happens and then it gets worse, because where we are right now isn't that bad. I mean, we got home delivery, not where I live in the country, but if you live in the nearest town, they got home delivery of gallon margaritas. Kind of a tough apocalypse you guys are living through. They got home delivery of bourbon and Cokes. This is Texas, and the governor did a executive order that restaurants can deliver alcohol. That's a whole other thought. It's a whole other idea that why did we regulate that in the first place if we need it when in a crisis? Why are we regulating things that free people ought to be able to do? But it's a pretty tough apocalypse when you can order a gallon of margaritas delivered to your house. My whole point there is that things could get worse. Very likely will. could get a whole lot worse. They could get to the point where we lose access to the internet, electricity. If this is the worst thing you could imagine, you have a horrible imagination. And so what I'm saying is get these books, you look through them when you have time, look through them with your family, and then have them on the shelf. You don't have to know all this stuff. All you have to do is have access to it. My library is gold because I can go, I have a book on that. I have a book that teaches me that. Special Forces Survival Guide by Chris McNabb. Wilderness survival skills from the world's most elite military units. A lot of this is like making knots and like traps, setting fires, first aid, setting bones, how to make a carry a fire from one place to another, hobo stove, dome shelters, crossing a river. This is gold. It's gold. You just have it. Read through it maybe every once in a while, but when you have it, you like look through these when you get them so you know what's in them, so then you know which book to go to. All right, here we go. Medicinal wild plants of the prairie. So now we're talking about medicines, things that you can do if you need to. Field guide to medicinal wild plants goes along with that one. All right. This is all just like old wisdom from back in the day, what people used to do. All right. Tom Brown's Field Guide, Wilderness Survival. There's some good stuff in this book. A lot of snares, which I might actually be using some of these pretty soon. I've done a lot of snares, but not enough practice. And so I may take opportunity of tracking, like different animals, hunting, wild edibles. Type things into the comments if you have questions. This is a good book. Tom Brown's Field Guide, Wilderness Survival. I think I have a couple of his other field guides too. This is one of those you can get like a Tractor Supply. They got these barnyard in your backyard, a beginner's guide to raising chickens, ducks, geese, rabbits, goats, sheep, and cattle. And I think I've used this a little bit, mainly I think for fencing. But it's got good information on different, like if your goat has like an ear problem or something, you can look it up. Rabbits, spraddle leg on chickens, things like that. I'm not doing all my books. I'm just doing the ones that I grabbed off the shelf real quickly and thought, people, Amazon's still open. Everybody's buying the toilet paper, but I bet you all these books are available. So order yourself a library of books and then read through them. You don't have to sit down and read the whole book. They're guidebooks. They're guides. It's like a encyclopedia. You know where to go. So if you look behind me, I have a bunch of encyclopedias, and I got probably another 10 or 12 sets in the other room. I collect encyclopedias. But back before the days of the internet, whenever I had a question, I would be reading something in the newspaper, or I would go to my dad and I would say, "Where's Zimbabwe?" I don't even think it was Zimbabwe back then. I don't know, Rhodesia or something. I don't know. So I would go, "Where's Rhodesia?" And he would say, "Go look it up." But he not only would just say, "Go look it up," he would make me go look it up and then come tell him so that he knew that I did it. And so I knew where to find information. I learned where to find it. You don't have to know it all, but if you know where to find it, and you can find it quickly. And so, get yourself a library. And if you got to go, you got to go. Yeah, you can catch it all on YouTube. Get yourself a library, and I'm going to talk about a few more things. But get yourself a good library, and then you'll know where to get information, and it'll benefit you greatly if this thing gets worse, or if the next thing gets worse, or if you were raising children or grandchildren. Ain't nothing better than having a library and teaching them how to use it. All right. All right. So then we talked about, finding the weakness of the system, that you are dependent. You have to admit that. It's kind of like the 5 steps of alcoholism. Admit that you're dependent. Admit that you have weaknesses. The system has weaknesses, and then see what you have to do to redress those weaknesses so that you are better prepared to be a strong leader and helper, provider, stabilizer in these type of crises. The second thing to do is to apply this to your family. And so this is a great way to spend this time rather than sitting around binging something stupid on Netflix. Watch YouTube videos like this one, or all of my how we do stuff videos, or go back and watch Cold Cracker Bushcraft, have bushcrafting skills, or go watch different YouTube channels that teach you something, teach you history, teach you how people used to live. There's a lot of videos out there, but get yourself a library as well. All right. So I talked about this t-shirt. I got this t-shirt for free at the thrift store, and I don't have any idea what it is. And but I wanted to bring that back up because one of the survival tips that I'm going to give you, my wife went to, we have several, like there's a Goodwill, and then there's thrift stores, and I think there's a a Good Samaritan store. And then in nearby town, they have what's called the Free Store, which is just a ministry store that people can donate stuff like they do to the Goodwill, but instead of the Goodwill selling it, they just give it away. And you can go in there and you can get bags of t-shirts. One thing you might do is go through your house, everybody's drawers and stuff they don't wear. I bet you in your house, you probably have 100 t-shirts that nobody wears. Those are your future toilet paper, or your future rags, or your future Band-Aids, or your future scrubbing towels. But if you have 100 t-shirts in your house, which you probably do, that people aren't going to wear, it'd be a good idea to get those together, get them clean, get them sealed in some plastic or something. And then whenever you need to, you can cut them up. Don't flush stuff that's not toilet paper. I don't have a flush toilet, but I'm hearing that this is going on. People are flushing stuff. Don't flush that stuff. If you have to wipe with a t-shirt, you wash the t-shirt out, or at least, shake it out into the toilet water before you flush. Then you kind of scrub that thing clean. You can take it outside in the backyard and use a spray washer or whatever. Back in the day, pretty much everybody, yes, I have tried dandelion coffee. Yeah. And let me know what you think about it. Back in the day, everybody had cloth diapers. Everybody did. They didn't have store-bought diapers. My wife raised our children with mostly cloth diapers. And so they would have a bucket, and you took the diaper, you put the poop into as long as if it's solid, into the toilet, and you flush it. Then you take the diaper and you put it in the bucket of water and you soak it. Then you pour that stuff out. You can flush that, or you can take it out and use it as some type of fertilizer in your yard. Then you scrub those things and you hang them out in the sun, and the sun is a perfect antibacterial sanitizer. And you dry them, and then you use them again. This has been going on for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And so you can do that. And so don't throw away. If you have 100 t-shirts, you have infinite amount of toilet paper. You should never run out. If you don't have 100 t-shirts, go to the Goodwill, go to the thrift store, and they have t-shirts for $1 or 50 cents, or sometimes there's 3 t-shirts for $1. T-shirts are something they're giving away. People go, here's the prices of t-shirts. $20 new, $1 2 months later. It's like coffee cups. If you ever wanted a coffee cup because it had something cool on it, they're like $9.99. And then you could find every coffee cup ever made in the thrift store or Goodwill for 25 cents. Coffee cup prices are $10 or 25 cents. And it's that way with t-shirts. It's $20 or $30, and then it's free. And most people have drawers full of t-shirts. I don't. But now I got a bunch because my wife went to the free store and got a big old bag of them. So that's another tip for you. You tune in here, you get tips. And so I'm here to give you tips. If you have questions or comments, put them in the comment section. I don't know how long I've been on here, but I think I started at 4, so 41 minutes. So I got a few more minutes. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section. If you're watching this on YouTube, I beg of you to subscribe, share, comment, etc. Watch the videos. Go through my How We Do Stuff videos. The last 7 or 8 videos that I've done since the coronavirus are solid gold. Philosophy, bunker principle, which you really need to learn, and a lot of background information, which would be very valuable for you. But also just make sure that you're sharing and all that, because I've been kind of updating the reporting. You have to do 4,000 hours in 1 year, watch hours, in order to get monetized and to be like a real channel or something. We just passed 3,000 hours. We got 1,000 more hours. I don't think it would be any money. I mean, but it's better than a stick in the eye. I'm doing this for free to help you guys. I'm supposed to be, hello, Nancy. I'm supposed to be building a fence right now for my garden. Our garden. It's our garden. All right, y'all. If you have any questions or comments, get them in, because if not, I'm going to go do something productive. Just wanted to get another video up with some helpful information. I hope you went through the whole book list. All right. Thank you, Matt. Everybody subscribe. I need subscribers. I need watchers. I need likers. I need commenters. So anyways, what was I saying? So anyways, I was saying something. I don't remember. Oh no, please share all of my videos that you want to, wherever. I'm doing this to help people. So I did that whole list of books. Oh, I was going to say, if you're watching this on YouTube, go down into the description, definition, whatever they call it, section down below. And in the main 4 or 5 of them, I'm going to put a link, and you can just click on. And if you go there and if you click on that link, you end up buying the book. I get like 12 cents or something like that, you know. Oh, by the way, Surviving Off Grid, which you already should have and you should already read. You can also get an audiobook. The audiobook is great, and the audiobook's really cool way to go. I'm going to do a video on how I think right now is a really good time, even though I always want people to get books in paperback. The really urgent stuff right now, if you're going to be out in the field or you're going to be outside doing stuff, you might want to have on a Kindle or a tablet. I've got this Samsung tablet. Just reminded me, I should do this about once every 5 minutes. I should pop up a little deal saying, listen, dummy, I live off grid completely. Being on the internet, being on YouTube does not mean you're on grid. They have solar power. We have laptops. We have wireless internet. We have cell phones. Those things are not on the grid. I actually had somebody, and I've had to do this every day of my life for 20 years, because people, they can't just Google what does off grid mean. I don't have a problem with people being ignorant. Ignorance is not a pejorative. You can be ignorant. And if somebody is ignorant and humble about it, they want to know. Somebody says, hey, I'm just curious. I saw you on Facebook. How can you get on Facebook if you live off grid? I'm fine with that, and I'll answer the question. But this particular question, the people that ask it are never humble. They're dumb, but they're proud. And they're like, hey, and it's always the rolling LOL emoji. You know, it's like, oh, you're off grid, but you're on YouTube, roly. Like they tricked me. Like somehow they figured me out. They're like, he's not really off grid, he's on YouTube. Off grid means that you are not hooked up through landlines to the system of grid power, electricity, and services. Means you're not dependent on it. I have a a couple of solar panels with a battery, very, very small, charges a little teeny power box. I can hook my inverter up to it. The inverter hooks up to a big antenna that I have that receives Wi-Fi from the nearest town through the air. And I don't have to have it. I'm not dependent on it. If my power goes out, or excuse me, if the power goes out all around me, if everybody doesn't have power, I still have power. But if everybody else doesn't have internet, I don't have internet either. But I'm not dependent on it. I'm not hooked up to it so that if it goes down, I'm without. I'm not. I have tools. I have everything. I live off grid. We have lanterns and candles and things like that. But it's such a. I'm trying to be as charitable as possible. There are people out there that think this who are perfectly fine people. They're humble and they just want to know. The people that actually ask, though, are always a-holes. They always are. They're never like, hey, I'm curious. I didn't take the time to go Google this because if I Google off grid, it'll tell me. The cabin is not hooked up to solar. No. And it's about 700 feet or so from here. I'm in the office. This is the only place where we have electrical power. And it's a very, very tiny amount. It's like I have a light bulb right there that's 3 watts. And then I have my laptop, which I think uses about 75 to 100 watts when it's on. I charge some batteries. I have this tablet, which I charge. And then I have like this watch, which all this is for is counting my steps when I'm working out. But we have some batteries. We run some fans and stuff like that. But all this basically at the office is merely so that I can do my work, so I can communicate with you, so I can write books, publish, and all that kind of stuff. But the cottage, we don't have electricity up there. All right. Any more questions or comments? Let me have it. Shoot them at me. We'll see what we can do. Half the man I used to be. That's true. Yep. I'm just melting away. Yeah, the workouts are going really, really good, and I'm not displaying my benefits or my gains. I have to negotiate that with my wife. This showing of the arms, this is like it's a gray area. I have modesty rules, and so my workout shirt I put this free T-shirt on so that I wouldn't be immodest. And the only reason that I have this, I normally don't wear a baseball cap, but I have this on is because my hair is just wild. I don't normally have long hair. This is just for the movie possibilities. So I'm looking forward to cutting it at some point. So if you've been following me for 20 years, I normally don't sit here in a T-shirt and baseball cap with long hair. It's just not normal. But anyways, any other questions? Type them in. If you're on YouTube, you can put in questions, even if this isn't live. You can put questions in, and I will come read them, and I'll try to answer them. Or I will direct you to a video in which I've already covered that particular data. Modesty is a must. That's true. I'm going to work something out. I'm on the wire because I know that it's not. There's nothing prurient as far as that goes, but people are. They're telling me and emailing me and messaging me that they are inspired, and a lot of people are getting up and working out, and so people are curious, what can you do in 12 weeks? So I might do a video on that, on what you can do in 12 weeks. I'm not going to be taking my shirt off or anything like that, but if there's a way that I can tastefully and modestly display just what's possible with a 53-year-old, my hair looks horrible, and I keep touching the same side, but if you can see kind of what's possible, that's how it started for me. I actually was watching a video, and it was a guy that used to be really, really, really heavy, and he did a 12-week or 16-week, I think it was 12-week workout program, and he merely stated a very simple thing. I got the Duck Dynasty look going. Woohoo! I never watched an episode of that show. I don't think that I ever had access to it or something. I don't know. I've never watched that show. I think I watched like 2 minutes of it at my parents' house one time, and it seemed a little staged. Having had the opportunity to do a reality show where they came out and did a pilot, I can see why. I'm not blaming the show. The producers want you to do stuff and say stuff in certain ways. Our show didn't get picked up, so but anyways, going back to the workout thing, I'm going to try to find a way where I can try to inspire people because I watched this video and this guy said, where were you 12 weeks ago? Just think about where you were. 12 weeks ago was last week of December. Just think of where you were and just think, okay, in that amount of time, you could look completely different. You could feel completely different and you could be much, much healthier. That's kind of how I got started. I watched that and I went, yeah, I could do that. And so I started my walking and all that kind of stuff. So if I can inspire anybody in the same way, then I want to do it. But I want to do it without compromising my moral beliefs. All right. I'm not seeing any questions coming in. So it looks like we're running out of time anyway. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Lord willing, we'll do one of these maybe tomorrow. I'm trying to do one on the bug out bag, but I'm missing one item, which is what happens when you actually live this way and you're not just planning on it. So we used it somewhere and I got to find one item, but I've got all gear all over the floor over here because I'm putting together a good bug out go bag and I'm going to do a whole video on it. That should be coming up maybe tomorrow. We'll see. You guys stay tuned, subscribe, like, share, comment. Appreciate you guys. Hope everybody's doing fine. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. And we'll talk very, very soon. If and only if I can figure out how to end the live video. There we go.